and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. My name is Bobby Lapierre, and before we get into today's review, some of you might be asking where I've been. I haven't made videos in several months. That is correct. I'm unable to edit at the moment, so this review might be a little bit longer than normal, but it will also have less edits. I will try to speak slower than I usually do. I will try to pronounce names to the best of my ability, so we won't have to edit those things out, because I just can't right now, and no matter what I do, I'm unable to figure out or fix the problem. With that being said, today we are bringing you another book review. Last year I had the pleasure of looking at C.L. Hagely's Hunter book, the first one, and I gave it an 8 out of 10, I believe. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty awesome. 1 year later, we're back with the sequel. This one is called Hunter, the Serpent Mounds, and picks up the following year, school year, for our main kids. Leon Hunter is back. He is now in 10th grade. His best friend is still Gabriel, and weird shenanigans happen at their school, Triastric Academy, once again. They are loosely related to the first adventure in the first book, but this one is very much about a new set of adventures. Specifically, Leon and Gabriel now have giants who are at their school. The main giant is called Edgar Malouf. I believe I'm saying his last name right. And based on certain things they remember from their Verse trip. Verse is a virtual reality technology, for lack of a better explanation, to ancient Sumer last year. It ties into that stuff. It ties into the reptilian stuff from the first book as well. But it is a fairly self-contained adventure. So if you haven't read the first book, I don't think you'll be that confused by what's going on through here. So basically, Gabriel, Leon, and their new friend Lorelei Gum set off to uncover what the giants are actually trying to accomplish, based on these weird dioramas and pictographs and hieroglyphs that they see at the museum just outside of their town. And they're trying to put all the pieces together based on what they found out last year, based on new information, based on things their favorite Professor Snodgrass tells them this year. They're trying to get everything to make sense. Meanwhile, in the South Pole, there is a military unit, along with a scientist, who are trying to figure out why a whole bunch of ships of Nibiru, if I'm saying that right, haven't broken formation. They've simply added ships, but they've stayed in the same formation for a really long time, and nobody's sure if this means they're going to attack, if they're just trying to make first contact. Nobody is positive in that regard. So we intercut to that every few chapters to see what's happening there. This dovetails with an approaching planet whose gravitational forces may or may not disrupt Earth, or it may or may not run into our planet. And the scientist at the military installation in the South Pole is very worried about that, much more than whatever's going on with the alien formations. Meanwhile, Professor Snodgrass, who are Gabriel and Leon's favorite professor and does history, is off on his own little adventure with an archaeologist friend of his that involves him uncovering ancient giant bones in an area that they didn't know giants existed in, and everything eventually comes together at the end of the book. Obviously, I don't want to spoil things all that much, because where's the point of reading it then? much like the first one, Hagely, the author, has an amazing sense of character and place. I really love her main characters. This go around, Leanne joins the ROTC in part to sort of one-up his school rival from the first book, Kalik, and in part because he feels something deep down, almost primal, instinctual, that says he should get into this and learn these military maneuvers and be able to outsmart people, and it comes in handy at a few points. There's a sequence that sees Gabriel acting really weird, and then he doesn't remember any of it. He changes his clothes really quickly. Nobody is sure if he did actually do that, or if people can shapeshift, or what it was, and that's part of the mystery that everybody's trying to solve now. However, the best part of this book is Lorelei Gum. I believe that's how you say her last name. It's G-U-M-B. I'm presuming the B is silent. And she's my new favorite character in the series. I love her to death. She talks too much. She's overly excited by everything. And she just rattles off about anything that's in her head. She's very, very smart. So a lot of it pertains to information they're looking up or talking about. But then she'll just start talking about musicals or old school James Bond or anything like that. And she just never knows when to stop. And I found her delightful. I loved this character so much. I really am excited to see what's going to happen in further adventures with her and Gabriel and Lynn. But more importantly, there's an interesting dynamic happening between Leanne, Gabriel, and Lorelei, in that it's heavily implied but never outright stated, and nothing's acted upon in this book, that both of them kind of dig her, and she may or may not like one of them, or both of them. I'll let you read the book to figure that out. And despite how cliche that sounds, because Hagely is such a good author, it actually comes off as being fairly engaging and interesting, and it never breaks apart their friendship. It never becomes a big deal that they both might like the same person. They're best friends. They would stand to reason they would kind of be into the same kind of person for a romantic relationship. That makes sense. Once again, we do kind of follow the formula laid out in the Harry Potter books and the Percy and the Mount Olympian books, in that it's next year, so 9th grade, 10th grade, and new adventure that ties into old stuff and new information, so everything's kind of coming to a giant head. But with the heavy lifting of the world out of the way, and with the amazing characters, especially Lorelei, the new one, it flows a lot smoother in that regard. For the most part, I'm not sure how I would have changed it, but the stuff in the South Pole with the military is interesting in its own right, but it kind of stops the momentum of everything happening at Triaster Academy with Leanne and Gabriel and Lorelei and Kalik and Professor Snodgrass and everybody else that we were already introduced to or introduced to in this book, that work or go to that school and live in this town. And that's a bit frustrating. The ending works everything with that in very nicely. Once you see where it's going, it does work, but as you're reading it, it's only for a few pages and a few chapters at a time, but you really just want to get back to the academy and the kids and what they're up to. So once again, I'm going to give the second book in the Hunter series the same grade I gave the first book, and that's an 8 out of 10. C.L. Hagely, the author, has a really amazing sense of place and time and... Sorry, not place and time. There's a really amazing sense of place and character, and this time around, the adventure moves a little bit quicker, and it's a bit more exciting because you don't have to spend so long setting up the world and the technology and everything. But those few missteps, such as cutting away to the military at the South Pole and what they're doing, do slow things down a little bit, but not nearly enough for this to not be a fun, enjoyable ride. So once again, 8 out of 10. This is a really cool series. I hope I get to keep reading and reviewing them. As always, thank you for tuning in to Geek Legion of Doom. My name is Bobby. You can find me at Film Threat, and I'll see you guys later.